In this video, we'll look at the playlist window and some of its features. First, let's review what playlists are and what they are used for. Playlists are essentially a list of items that can be played in sequence or randomly. You can add any content to a playlist like videos, images, templates, web pages, and streaming video. Playlists can be used in the scheduling grid to create time slots. They can also be used inside a template zone. However, you can't use the same playlist for both. A scheduled playlist can't also be assigned to a template zone. The playlist window is split into two areas. The top lists all the playlists available in the currently selected group. The bottom shows all of the content assigned to the currently selected playlist. When you click on a playlist in the upper area, its contents are shown below. To create a playlist, proceed as follows. Right-click in the upper area and select Add Playlist. The Playlist Property window appears. Start by giving your playlist a descriptive name. The Roles section lists all the users who have access to that playlist. By default, all users who have access to the current group will automatically have access to a new playlist. You'll see their usernames with a checkbox next to each one. To exclude someone from the list, uncheck the box next to their name. Excluded users will no longer see these playlists, and their time slots will also show as an empty space in their scheduling grid. New playlists are created unrestricted. This means you can add as much content as you want, and there's no limit to the playlist duration. However, you can restrict the maximum number of media items and the playlist duration by entering values in the restrictions field. Once the settings are saved, anyone who attempts to exceed these values will be notified. The playback option lets you specify how the content will behave. When a playlist is added to the scheduling grid, priority is always given to the schedule. This simply means playlists will follow their assigned start and end times. If you schedule a playlist to end at 10 p.m., the content that is currently shown on screen will stop at that precise time. If you want to make sure your content always plays from beginning to end, you must give priority to the media. When this option is selected, the media currently playing when the playlist's time slot ends will continue to play until it reaches the end. The content won't be cut off at the scheduled end time. The mute audio option lets you turn off the sound for an entire playlist. By default, the playlist respects the order in which the content is organized. Shuffle play lets you randomize your content playback. Remember, these steps are all optional. If you're fine with the default settings, simply name your playlist and you're ready to go. Now, before we go further, it's important to understand how groups and subgroups work. The top level, also called the root, is where you would store content and playlists that you want to share with everyone. The lowest level is where your players are assigned. Content and playlists stored in the bottom levels are deemed to be local, meaning they can only be shown on those players. Playlists created in upper levels are considered global, meaning that they can be used in any subgroup below those levels. These playlists are identified by their abbreviated name, which indicates the level where they're stored. In this example, the symbol points to a playlist stored at the training level. Remember that playlists created in levels with players are considered local. Local playlists can only be used within their own group. When creating a playlist, decide if it will be used in many locations or if it is specific to a single group. Be aware that you can't copy and paste playlists between levels. To populate a playlist, just drag and drop content from the library. You can drag content from the current level, but if you have access to levels above, you can also drag those items into your playlist. You can drag items from the current level or from a level above. However, you can't drag a lower level item into an upper level playlist. At any time, you can reorder the playlist content or enable the shuffle option to play the content randomly. To add multiple items at a time, hold down the Control key as you select each item in the library. When you get to the last item, drag the entire group and drop it into your playlist. You can also drag over an entire library folder to add its contents in a single step. Right-clicking playlist content will bring up additional options. You can remove the currently selected item. You can remove all the items in the playlist. And note that this removes the instance of the content in the current playlist, but it doesn't delete the content in the library. As a rule, all the players in a group will play the same program. However, there are ways to force certain players to show content that is specific to them. This is called location-specific content, and here's how it works. You upload media files or select URLs for each player. Then you add markers in your playlists. Whenever a marker is encountered, each player will display the matching content or URL it was assigned. Players can be assigned up to 25 media items or URLs. Templates can't be used as location-specific content. Only full-screen images, videos, Flash content, and URLs can be added. Here's how you assign location-specific content to a player. Double-click the player's name to open its properties. Under location-specific content, you will see two options: Upload Media and Add URL. Before you go any further, click on the number where you wish to add the new content. If you choose number 2, then you will need to add a number 2 marker in your playlist to play this content. If other players have different content assigned to number 2, they will play that content instead. If a player in the group has no content assigned to that slot, it will skip the marker and move on to the next item in the playlist. To add a media file, click Upload Media to select a new file to add. Select the media and click Open, then click Upload to send the file to the server. If you change your mind, click the X under Remove. Once the file is uploaded, the item will be added to the table. If it's an image, you can adjust its duration. Otherwise, a 7-second duration will be assigned. Video duration will be determined automatically, but you can also adjust it as needed. A thumbnail representing your content will be visible at the bottom of the table. The process is similar for web pages. You select Add URL and then type in a descriptive name and the full URL you want to show. The default duration for web pages is 15 seconds, and you can adjust this setting as needed. A thumbnail of the web URL will be created automatically. Next, you must add the location-specific content markers into your playlist. To add a marker, right-click the playlist and select the number representing the item you wish to add, and then drag the marker to the desired position in the playlist. Each time this marker is encountered in the playlist, players will look at their own location-specific content table and play the content that corresponds with that number. If a player has no content assigned to the marker, it will skip it and move on to the next item in the playlist. When you select a playlist in the upper section, you'll notice additional information in the header area. The playlist name, the playlist duration, the number of items in the playlist. The content view is the default option. It's indicated by the gray button. In this mode, you will see thumbnails for all the content and templates assigned to the playlist. Clicking on ticker will switch to the alternate view. You can assign tickers to playlists by dragging them into this window. This will cause the ticker to be shown whenever this playlist is scheduled and published. To add one or more tickers, proceed as follows. Select the playlist and make sure you're in ticker mode. Click the ticker Not Published folder to see its content. Select a ticker from the list and then drag and drop it into the playlist. You can add more than one ticker and they will be shown in rotation for as long as the playlist is scheduled. To return to the default view, click Content. This concludes our review of the playlist window. Be sure to visit www.navori.com for more information.